by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Welcome back to First Things First. Time now for But First, sponsored by Delta Faucet. Patriots fullback Dan Vitale, one of many, up to the latest challenge going around the internet. Ready for this? 1,000 push-ups an hour. That's about 17 push-ups a minute. And Nick, before you poke fun at me for bragging that I can do this, I cannot do this. But you know who else cannot do this? You. But we'll let our audience in on a little secret. You've been working out, trying to buff up just a little bit in your quarantine time. You're working yourself up, not to 1,000, 150, right, my friend? And guess what? You and I have a lot in common because I'm right there with you, 150.
Well, okay, first of all, Jenna Wolf, let me compliment you, not for your physique, which is always impressive, but because you were honest here. Total upset. Biggest upset of the week. Okay. Jenna Wolf didn't say I can do 1,000 push-ups in an hour. I would have lost an enormous amount of money on that. Now, about me, I thought it was impressive. I was trying to do 1,000 push-ups in a week after not working out since, well, ever. And that's what I've been doing during quarantine. But Greg Jennings, we know works out. Because Greg Jennings, the only videos you can find of him are him playing in the NFL and then him shirtless on the internet, cooking and giving life advice. So Greg Jennings, I challenge you, sir, to the 1,000 push-up in an hour challenge, which strikes me as impossible. But if anyone can do it, you can do it. Greg, do you accept the challenge?
Boy, that is peer pressure if I ever felt peer pressure in my life. But I don't get pushed into a corner. And because I know the importance of executing a perfect push-up from 1 to 1,000, Jenna, am I right? Yes, I know I am. I wouldn't even accept that challenge. I wouldn't even accept that challenge. But just because you said it,
get in the way of the pursuit of greatness,
just
Greg.
Hang on, Nick. I think we hear something.
I just may send something special to you and only you, so then you can show it to the world. Myself doing 1,000 push-ups in 35 minutes.
Okay. No, that 35 minutes. Okay. You a damn lie. This is impossible. Now you sounding like Jenna Wolf. I can do 1,000 burpees in the commercial break. Now it's just the lies and lies.
All right. Well, listen, kudos to those pro athletes, yourself included, who can. If this was burpees, I'm up for the challenge. Let's move on quickly before Nick starts poking fun again. Time to play a little drawing a blank. According to our guys at Fox Sports, Fox Bets, Joe Burrow is the odds favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year with Georgia running back DeAndre Swift and Tua Tagovailoa behind him. All right, Nick, Burrow being the runaway favorite to win Rookie of the Year is blank.
A bad bet. If you're going to make this bet with my friends at Fox Bet, which is, of course, where you should make it, you don't have good enough odds on Joe Burrow. We know he's going to a bad team in a bad situation. How about Jonathan Taylor, stud running back out of the University of Wisconsin? I would anticipate he comes into the league immediately, is a 300 carry back. We saw how great he was at Wisconsin. We know that running backs in recent history as rookies have stepped in immediately, Greg, and made an impact. And you get, I think, 10-1 on him right now with Fox Bet. So I say Jonathan Taylor. So I think Joe Burrow, Greg, would be a bad bet.
Yeah, I think it would be premature, obviously, because of the situation that he's going into and the dysfunction that we've seen with the Cincinnati Bengals. My pick would be a running back. You could take Jonathan Stewart. I like that pick, Nick. I like DeAndre Swift. And I also like J.K. Dobbins, depending on where he ends up. I think running backs are so invaluable because they can run and they obviously can catch out of the backfield now as receivers do. So they have greater opportunities.
Nick, I loved your pick. Go Badgers. I'm going to say Joe Burrow's a little Danny Almonte-esque. Like, part of me wonders, and I know I don't want to, like, put a firebomb out there, but, like, is the reason that he was so good for 1 year is because he was just older than everybody? He's going to be 20, or he is 23, and he turned 23 in December. He's older than Kyler Murray. He's older than Lamar Jackson. So I'm just a little bit wary of the Joe Burrow hype machine.
All right, let's move on to the Patriots now. Many wondered if the Patriot way left New England when Tom Brady left New England. Well, Patriots veteran Matthew Slater gave a resounding no yesterday, saying, quote, That standard doesn't change. That standard, 6 Lombardis in the last 20 years. Nick Wright, the Patriots' Super Bowl chances without Brady are blank.
Oh, Matthew Slater's right, but I think for the wrong reasons. The Super Bowl chances without Tom Brady are unchanged from where they were last year with Tom Brady, right around 0%. Like, yeah, I mean, listen, with or without Tom Brady in the 2019 or the 2020 season, the New England Patriots were drawing dead to win the Super Bowl. As good as the defense is, in a conference when you got to get through Watson and Lamar and, of course, Patrick Mahomes, you ain't going to do it either whether you're doing it with a senior citizen or whether you're doing it with Jared Stidham. So they're unchanged. They can't win the Super Bowl. Greg?
This is too much.
Wow, senior citizen. I'm saying unlikely. And for the same reasons, Nick, they just have too many uphill battles to climb over. And I just don't think they're going to be able to do it starting with the guy that's sitting behind you, Nick, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're just the favorite. They should be the favorite. And it really has nothing to do with Tom Brady not being there.
All right. Here's what they are. Tyson-esque. Imagine if you had a deal to fight Mike Tyson, and he's got a left hand and he's got a right hand. And your manager comes and said, good news, we made a deal with Mike Tyson. He's only going to fight with his left hand. You're like, I guess that's a good sign. I'm still in a lot of trouble. Well, that's exactly how you should be thinking about the New England Patriots. We had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. We lost one, but guess what? This one can still do a lot of damage. It's unchanged. Patriots to the Super Bowl again. Cheers.
Which hand is Belichick?
Great take.
My favorite
It's a
one.
great take.
Yet. Cheers. Right back to you. All right, speaking of Brady, according to Tampa Bay's GM Jason Light, Brady actually pitched himself to the team during free agency. So, Nick, Brady pitching himself to the Bucs is blank.
Unbelievable. And I mean that in the literal sense, as in I do not believe it. To me, this is an believable story. The idea that Tom Brady was like, hi, Jason Light and Bruce Arians, who has done everything except for, pack Jameis Winston's bags for him. Do you think maybe, possibly, potentially, I don't know, I could come play for your football organization? And they were like, I don't know, Tom, what have you done lately? It's nonsense. I don't believe it. It's a nice story, but it's not a believable story. So, Greg, I call it unbelievable.
I call it defining, and I do believe it. And I think it defines exactly where Tom Brady is in his career. People identifying and labeling him as pretty much done. It's over, falling off the cliff. And he wanted to put it in his own words and not have anyone speak for him. I think that says and speaks a lot about him. And it was a very defining moment. And he wanted to write the rest of his script. He wanted to converse and convey his message the way he wanted it to come across to general managers. And that's what he was able to do. And we see it worked.
I agree, Jenna. I'm going to say it's a sign of a true champion. It's something that, Nick, once you're a quarterback, wins 6 championships, I think that you would be more, have a better understanding of what it's like to see a true champion in action. He's enthusiastic. He's hungry. He's humble. He wants to be a part of Tampa Bay. I was just very impressed with this entire story.
Of course you were. Of course you were. Wow.
Unbelievable.
On to the Texans now. When they traded All-Pro wideout DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals, Houston's head coach and GM Bill O'Brien took some blowback. And The Athletic took some notice, releasing an article titled, Bill O'Brien Could Already Be the Worst GM Ever. Gotta wonder what the article's about. Nick, Bill O'Brien as the Texans GM is blank.
Fascinating, because it could be also groundbreaking, because the worst GMs in sports history almost are disproportionately NBA GMs. You have David Kahn, who Wilds alluded to earlier, taking 2 point guards ahead of Steph Curry. You have Jenna's guy, Kevin McHale, who thought he was working for the Celtics when he was actually working for the Timberwolves and gave them Kevin Garnett.
Easy.
You have the second or third greatest player ever, Michael Jordan, who's been running Charlotte into the ground for the better part of 10 years, and another great player, Elgin Baylor, his time with the Clippers. But the worst GM ever is Ted Stepien in the NBA. Why? Because they had to make a rule about him trading away first-round picks to where you can't do it in back-to-back years because he kept giving them away, called the Stepien rule. Could we have a Bill O'Brien rule coming? Stop trading for running backs. Stop trading multiple picks for above-average left tackles. Stop giving away the best players on your team for mid-round picks. Could a Bill O'Brien rule be in the works a la Ted Stepien rule in the NBA? So I call it fascinating. Can't wait to see how this plays out. I just feel terribly for Deshaun Watson, Greg.
Which is why I say it's prohibiting. It's prohibiting not only for the Texans fans, but for us as media, potentially being able to see Deshaun Watson be what we've seen Lamar Jackson become, which is an MVP, Patrick Mahomes become, which is an MVP. I don't know if it happens if he stays in the Texans uniform, and it's typically, or I shouldn't say typically, it is primarily because of Bill O'Brien. So he's prohibiting us from seeing the extreme excellence of Deshaun Watson and potential hoist of a Lombardi trophy.
All right, Kev.
Bill O'Brien used to be the Patriots offensive coordinator. And today's your daily reminder, Nick, that Sportsbook has Deshaun Watson starting for the Patriots in 2021. You can get those odds. So part of me thinks Bill O'Brien's still working for the Pats. Excited to see welcome Deshaun Watson to Gillette.
Kevin McHale. That'd be such a nice departure for a Boston team to do things outside of the rules. It'd just be shocking if a Boston team got caught up in a little bit of, scandal, subterfuge, malice intrigue. That's great. That's just great. Jenna, this segment came in quickly.
Kevin, in the next commercial break.
It's so irritating.
Next break, Kevin, you're going to have to let me know who you root for in the NFL because I think people are going to have a hard time figuring it out. Take a break now. Coming up, will a 43-year-old Tom Brady have a resurgence down in Tampa?
God.
That's next on First Things First.
Great segment coming up.